Crazy.
Oh, it's okay, bro. I look crazy too.
Well, guess we're going back to this.
Well, whenever we finally have our suits era, y'all can get y'all little glam squad and all that.
They gonna be like, girl, she need one because she be looking rough.
One thing I love about coming to my aunt's house is she got two things in her refrigerator every time. It's sweet tea and great Kool-Aid. When I say you only need this much, because it's probably like this much of sugar. Oh my gosh, y'all. When I opened and saw that picture in there, I was like,
great Kool-Aid.
Great Kool-Aid and sweet tea. And it's
you
like
mix it?
No, she don't mix it. She has two separate pictures.
What you got in your
great Kool-Aid. This is just sweet tea. This has sweet tea, but it's just we always used to call it the diabetic tea and the diabetic Kool-Aid because she'd be putting in like 3 cups of sugar. In fact, while I'm sitting here, you see the bag empty. She gonna get mad at me.
Oh.
Tell her all her stuff.
Right. Auntie.
But this is why I love her. This is why I'm the auntie, like doing the most. I get it from her.
Get it from her. I love that.
A little swig.
Sweet tea and Kool-Aid.
Crazy today.
Are we ready?
Are we jumping right in? Or are we doing intro again?
I mean, if y'all got an intro.
Yeah, I do have one.
Let's do it.
We'll do it. Boom shakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones Podcast. This is the podcast for us preachers kids to come and be the absolute worst. My name is Rudy Wilson. I am a PK. Got J. Rihanna in the building. She is our honor roll student, and she is also a PK. And then we have our bride-to-be, Princess Kells, in the building. She is also a PK. What's happening, people? What it do? You guys say you have updates since 2 minutes ago?
Go ahead, Janessa.
Well, that's only because I forgot to mention this. When y'all asked me about how I was doing with COVID, I forgot to mention Theodore, the cat. So I don't know if Theodore got COVID, but he was sneezing. Like the first couple of days after I got back. And I can't tell if it was in solidarity because I was sneezing or if he was sick. Because I do find that he likes to mimic me in certain ways. So like if I get up out of my office chair, get some water, whatever, I'll come back, he'll be sitting in my office chair. If he was here, y'all see him all the time. He's walking on the camera. He likes to sleep on my laptop. The one thing that really, and this is way too much, I'm telling you all my business. Like if you go to the bathroom, Theodore, if you're not fast enough, will like try to jump on the toilet. And I'm like, sir, you don't got to do what I got to do. But so I was concerned that he had COVID, and I did look it up, and cats and dogs can get COVID if you're in close proximity to your cat or dog. And of course, Theodore likes to be like right here in my face. So I do think he had COVID, but I don't think it was bad. But the other issue, Kelly, I'm just trying to prepare you for children.
Okay.
Theodore currently has a cut on his head. Don't know how he got it. He's a strictly indoor cat. If he goes outdoors, it's because he's in my arms. So he either ran into something, or maybe he got in a fight with something in our house, which is terrifying because then there means something is in the house. I know. So I might actually have to take him to the vet. One of my vets told me to shave a 1 by 1 inch of his head and clean it with saline wash and put Neosporin on it. And she lost me at shave his head. She basically was like, if it gets bigger or it starts to pus, to take him to the vet. So y'all keep your cat nephew on the prayer list and see if he's going through it.
Out of curiosity, with your did you get your taste buds back?
No.
Okay, I was gonna ask, can you taste the sweet tea?
So I can taste the sweet tea. I can taste the sweetness of the sweet tea, but the flavor is just not as bold as I know it to be. And that's with anything that I eat. Because I went to Chick-fil-A, and we all know what Chick-fil-A tastes like, and it wasn't hitting.
It wasn't hitting today. Oh man.
Auntie put so much sugar in there, it don't even stop COVID. COVID can't even stop it from tasting.
Because all it tastes like is sugar anyway. When your taste buds do work.
That's too funny.
Okay. Well, we are definitely praying for old Theo. Theo
Yes,
Huxtable.
please.
Actually,
I changed his name a little bit. His name is Theodore Leotis Remington.
Oh,
Rowland. Now,
So
Leotis. This is
what was it before? Just without Leotis?
Yeah, it was Theodore Remington Rowland. Now it's Theodore Leotis Remington Rowland.
What was the purpose of adding Leotis? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I just liked the name.
Okay.
I thought it just really pulled in the Black American and the British side of him together.
Gotcha. I played college football with a guy. We called him Theo for sure, but his name was Theotis.
See?
Yeah.
We right here.
We roasted him for his name a lot, though.
Don't do my cat like that.
Theotis. All right. All right. Well, Kellie Lee.
So mine is a question. Rudy, how are you doing with being productive at work?
So you don't have an update. You just want.
Nope.
Okay.
I just wanted to probe you all.
Gotcha. Better than the last time you asked me about it, but not where I need to be.
Okay. I like progress though.
And I think what has helped so far, I mean, we'll see how it goes. So I've actually been talking to a psychologist who works at the VA, somebody we got free access to. And she's actually a younger Black woman. And when I say younger, she's probably in her 40s or something like that. But still, I just, I expected to be some old white woman or white man or something like that, especially because of the side of town. But somebody much more relatable. But even just talking to her about being consistent and all that type of jazz. She's kind of trying to help me to organize things or even consolidate everything that I got going on where my focus can kind of be on fewer things and just focus on building consistency with that versus being all over the place like I normally am. And the bad thing about me being all over the place is I can keep it together pretty well, so which doesn't help you not be all over the place. Like when you're all over the place, but you know how to keep it together, it just begats more all over the place.
That's me. I'm there right now. What homework she give us this week, Rudy?
Right. Right. Because that's what Rudy. I mean, now Rudy in therapy. We need therapy tips.
Rudy, what's the homework for this week? What's the worksheet?
For one, I'm in temporary therapy. I only get like 6 sessions with her. It's not a continuous thing.
We need a GoFundMe for Rudy's therapy.
The homework. So I think, what was my homework for this? So the time before my first session, after the first session, I had to basically like make a list of all the things that I currently am involved in, or that I'm trying to do, want to do, whatever the case be. Just creating that list, and then from that list, kind of doing a process of elimination on what can I let go, what can I let go of. So like basically what it kind of boiled down to when I was talking to her is like with everything I got going on, like my church responsibilities, I can't let go of. Because that's not really like career based. That's just like that's ministry. That's my, part of purpose, whatever, blah blah blah. But then on just say the entertainment side, just kind of putting my focus strictly on stand-up comedy versus all the other stuff that I'm been trying to do or have done or whatever. So yeah. I mean, it still is kind of difficult because I do still have so I got church stuff, I got stand-up comedy, but then I got podcasts, I got just other stuff in life, whatever like that. So I don't know if I've narrowed it down to as narrow as it could possibly get, but I'm much more narrow than it once was, and basically building consistency within those few things that I've chose. So whatever that looks like. So just say for comedy, if that's posting, if I want to post every day. Right now, I'm not that consistent, so let's try posting once a week, or whatever the case may be. I'm just using that as an example. So that's where I'm at.
I need to make a list. That's what I need to do.
You
Thanks, Rudy, and the young black lady therapist.
You need to make a list, check it twice, and then we'll go from there. So yes, but that's basically where I'm at. So start with the list, and then you can gradually.
Kelly,
thank you.
Rudy just gave us a Ruby. I'm just telling you guys.
See, what I learned about Rudy, I would call you Ruby. What I learned about Rudy is you got to ask some questions to bring it out of them. The open-ended, how was your day? How you doing? Ain't nothing going on. The man go to therapy. That's something to say in the intro. That's huge.
I mean, for one, I didn't really think about it, and two, I don't know, it's just not that big of a deal, I guess, right now.
Look at it, we all got therapists. We trying to, we trying.
Exactly. So that's a huge deal. So I learned there's a different approach for Rudy. Since Rudy said nothing last time, I don't even think you said I'm doing all right, nothing's going on. I think you have to write into the thing.
That's pretty much I don't know. Because even that time when I went to the hospital, all this other stuff be going on with me. I don't be thinking about telling people until it comes up in conversation. Cause they'll be like, oh yeah, and then something, and I'll be like, oh yeah, well I can't go out of town because I don't have my car. Oh, what happened to your car? Oh, I totaled it. And they be like, you totaled your car? When did you get in an accident?
How long ago? Exactly.
Right. Right. And they be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, that was almost a year ago. Perfectly fine. But so yeah, I don't know. That stuff just I don't know.
Exactly. So I just wanted you to say something. That's why I asked you to do intros.
All right, no problem. All right. Okay, well, cool. So did you have anything, Kelly? Any updates?
My life is those 3-4 things I talked about last week.
Gotcha. Hey, that's what I meant to ask you last episode. Is there a color scheme to the wedding that we have to?
Yep, all black.
Okay, that's simple enough.
Yep.
That made it real easy. Is it formal, semi-formal? Cocktail hour? Church?
To be determined. So be somewhere between cocktail and formal. What the issue where I'm trying to figure out is food, and so can you ask people to wear formal and then the food is a buffet?
Chicken tenders in a tuxedo.
So that's the only thing that keeps it from formal. I want it formal. I'm just trying to figure out, do I tell people formal and then you feel some type of way that you dressed up in formal when you go to a buffet?
Hot
versus
wings. Eating hot wings.
Right. No, you're not eating hot wings. You're not eating hot wings. But versus a plated, more formal dinner.
Swedish meatballs.
No, you're not eating cocktail hour food. Now you do get some hors d'oeuvres doing cocktail hour. You on mute, Janessa.
Sorry. I don't think Jessica's wedding was I think hers was a buffet versus they come out with.
Right.
So, and it was formal, I think.
Ask her.
I was informal. I have to ask her.
Ask her, text me. Because it is formal, but there is a buffet. But so I'm trying to figure out what that means. And I've seen formal events with buffets. You know what I mean? I definitely have. So yeah, so that's but yeah, all black, probably formal. Cocktail formal. Yeah. So men are being black suits and ties. That's a standard black suit and tie. You can wear a white or a black shirt, but your tie is black and your suit is black.
Gotcha. Simple enough. All right. Well, we are going to get into our topic of discussion. So I was actually, and I'll probably post a small clip of this. I was actually watching.
We ain't even seen the clip.
Well, the clip isn't necessary for you to see for us to have this conversation, but just for our viewers to have something to look at as far as context of what made me want to think about having this conversation. But I was watching the ever so popular Dear Future Wifey podcast, and Lateris, who's the host of it, he was talking to I'm about to look up the guy's name. I can't think of it, but he's the guy who created the love language situation.
Okay.
And most people, because he even mentioned this during the discussion. Most people don't know who
John Chapman. Is that his name?
I think Chapman. I think that's
Chapman. I don't know his name. Chapman.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm pulling it up now so I can look, but yeah, I think it is Chapman. Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman. I gave him a new first name. It just came to me. I'm like, his last name is
Jonathan Chapman.
Right. Right.
But most people don't realize that he even created the love languages. So he gives like a little backstory of where it came from and how he wrote this book 30 years ago, whatever like that, and people are still buying it to this day. It's over 20 million copies sold, et cetera, et cetera. And so it made me kind of just think about us here on the podcast. I don't know if we ever discussed like what our love languages are. And I know, we like to try to have a little fun topics that aren't always, church based sometimes. So I feel like this would be a good one. So which love language do you speak? Or love languages do you speak? So does anybody want to start, or I can go first? Or?
You go first. You never go first, Rudy.
Alrighty, I'll go first. I hate love. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't speak none of them. So
first of all, do we need to talk about what the 5 love languages are, or is the clip going to tell us that?
Let's talk about the 5 love languages are. So we got help me out. So we got acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
Physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
You got personal time. What's it called?
Quality
time.
Gifts.
Yeah.
Words of affirmation.
Is it just gift giving? Just gifts. Okay. Gifts and then and words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I am a huge component of quality time. And this is my love language. This don't even have to be in an intimate setting. This could be just friends, family, whatever. As you all know, even outside of Christmas, I'm not big on gifts. I'm not big on gifts. And for me, even like I said, for a birthday or whatever, because for me, I mean, gifts are cool, but I'm not really a person who be really like wanting stuff. Like I don't have like a commercial mark like, oh man, I just always wanted that necklace or that watch or that iPad or that car or that, vacation or whatever. Like I've just never kind of been that person. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a person who is kind of more into just say stuff or gifts or whatever like that. But I just personally have never really cared. To me, I enjoy much more just spending time with people who I know and love. So whether that's a barbecue, that's why I even love, going to like homecoming back at, school for colleges or whatever like that. Cause like, I love going back and seeing my peoples, you know what I'm saying? Catching up, see where you at in life at this point, or just, whatever, just standing around talking about old times, old memories, the drive-by shooting when we were standing here back freshman year, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went to HBCU. It was in the hood. Y'all know. Y'all know how this goes. Y'all went to HBCU. So so for me, I'm real big on that. So even when it comes down to just a relationship, even though I haven't been in one in a while, I'm much more of a, whether it's going out to eat, whether it's going to the movies, whether it's watching the movie at the house, like a Netflix and chill type of thing. I would just much rather just, spend time with people, whether you're talking about just in any situation. So gifts I don't care about. Physical touch would probably be second. And that's definitely more on the intimate side. Like if I'm just sitting around with friends and family, we don't have to touch each other at all. That's a little strange. But if I'm at times in my life where I was shacking, I was definitely and shacking I guess would be considered living with a person. I don't know if I ever lived with somebody, but laying in the bed with a woman who wasn't my wife, amen. I definitely used to like going to sleep, I'm definitely like throw my leg, on yours or type of whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like we touch it in some type of format. I know some people don't like to touch, they get hot easily, whatever. I don't really mind, but yeah, even in my sinning days, I would like to touch. Acts of service. That's not really my love language. I mean, I do like when people don't mind doing stuff. It don't have to necessarily be for me, but like if we all just got done eating at the church, I like people who don't mind sticking around and helping clean up. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of it just being one or two of us. I think, and what's the last one I'm forgetting?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I ain't really, it's not a necessity for me. Because actually, a young lady who I cared about deeply throughout my life, she actually never thought that I was funny, like doing comedy, like on stage. She doesn't think I'm funny at all, but it doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Because we kind of created this inside joke that as long as everybody else thinks I'm funny and she doesn't, that means I'm on the right track. Because in conversation, she thinks I'm the funniest person in the world, but on stage, she just don't think I'm funny. But it doesn't bother me that I don't get a kudos from her or anybody else for that matter. Like, I'm kind of fine without it. So in closing, for me, it would be definitely quality time would be top tier for me. And then secondly, it would be physical touch. And then the rest of them,
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but we have a few church announcements. First, thank you all for listening, and make sure that you find us on YouTube at The Worst Ones Podcast. You can also find us wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. You can find us there at The Worst Ones Podcast. And when you get there, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you. Now back to the show.
My top two for many, 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 many years was quality time and physical touch. Mm-hmm. I still consider myself a big cuddler. That's why I kind of laughed when you said throw your leg. I was like, maybe that's what the guys call that. Okay, throw your leg, friend. Throw your leg.
Throw my leg onto you, not just throw my leg. Like,
well, why you gotta throw it on me? Why can't we just like caress and gently?
I mean, I don't know if it's not. I don't know if it's not gentle. I'm not like popping my leg like. But I'm just saying, like,
no,
legs got to touch.
I'm a cuddler. I'm a hand holder. I know my friends, like even my best girlfriends, they are sick of me because I be wanting to hold their hands, and they're like, Janessa, we are mid-30s, girl. If you don't go somewhere, and so having Theodore actually helps a lot because he snugs with me all the time. However, after my last relationship, that love language has changed. Quality time is still number one. for me, but acts of service is now my number 2. And acts of service and quality time can flip-flop depending on the day. I think I've just gotten to a point in my life because I have, for the most part, I mean, at this point I'm single. I have to do a lot of things on my own. And I'm just at an age where sis is tired. Like, I do a lot of stuff because I have to do it. There's no one else to do it. Sure, I can call my dad or my uncles or, you know, church members or whatever. But that's kind of twofold for me. It's a conversation for another day. One, they're older. I don't want to just always have to call my daddy, even though he will come every time I need something. And then 2, there's like a part of me subconsciously, maybe even consciously, trying to prepare for a day where my parents are not here and I literally can't call them. And so there's that aspect of just making sure I can handle whatever comes my way on my own. However, I also feel like a lot of people take my for lack of a better word, Janessa-ness, because I don't know. I am a big giver. If you have an issue or a problem, like I'm trying to solve it, you don't even have to ask for help. If I just hear a conversation, something I'm working on in therapy. But that's how I was in my last relationship. And it just drained me because I had him, he was drawing from me, family and friends were drawing from me. And I just got real depleted. And it just seemed like where I would willingly step in to try to help people, I wasn't getting that same service or care back. And I definitely wasn't getting it from the person who I was in a relationship with, which was another layer of just another layer of stuff. So acts of service mean a lot to me more at this phase in life. And also quality time, because in the past, I feel like I'm not always the priority. And I know you're not always going to be the priority sometimes. Now, marriage, that's different. I was specifically talking to my last relationship where he had a daughter. And so it was like, there were several things that kind of came before me, period. Like I could never be number 2, or, you know, like you have your job, maybe your child, your family, whatever. It was just a certain level that I could reach on any day. And it translated into, we would see each other, but we were not spending quality time together. So that's important to me. Physical touch is still like, it's not like I'm not a cuddler anymore and that I don't like physical touch. Like that didn't change, but acts of service just is much more important to me right now.
Right.
And then I would say gifts, gift giving. That's never been my thing. I feel like I've always been the person who has given gifts. Very few people have been thoughtful the way that I have been with them. I'm not saying that I wouldn't want that. I'm really praying that, you know, whoever the Lord has for me, he's just gonna know and have all these things that I like. Again, I would love gifts, but at the same time, it's just not the highest thing for me. And then I would say words of affirmation is the lowest for me. I don't even know if we're ranking them. Words of affirmation, I'm not saying that it's not important, but I feel pretty secure in myself. There's nothing you can say about me that's gonna make me feel better about me. There's, you know, like, so that one's just a little, it's nice. I'm not gonna say like someone making a compliment or congratulating you. I'm just gonna be like, oh, no. It's just not a high priority to me. So quality time, acts of service as of 2022.
Gotcha. Kellie Leezy.
So I've been thinking about it a number of different ways. What I think is funny is that our top two, there are three of us, and I wonder if we asked Terry too, is quality time, which may speak to why we continue to show up every week for almost 3 years. Though we have probably declined in growth in terms of marketing and getting things out there, because we just kind of enjoy the time that we spend with one another.
Right.
So that was definitely a moment for me as we talked about it. Like, oh, well, here's why we continue to show up every week.
Right.
Because
y'all my friends in real life.
Right. We all like time. And this is like for me a consistent time. And it's in time is my love language as well. It's my love, and I like to know that I'm getting this time. One of the reasons why I like therapy, and I haven't gone to therapy in a year and a half, but we got to get into premarital counseling. But I like that I knew that every other Wednesday at 6 o'clock, I had therapy. I had this time here. I like that. Even as me and my fiance talk about what time looks like for us when we because we don't live together now. So when we live together and what that looks like when we join houses, like that excites me because I enjoy time. Definitely my number one love language. And I've well, we ain't got to go in there. So secondly, so last, let me start from, I'm gonna go 1 to 5. Last would probably be I enjoy the thoughtfulness of gifts, but I'm not a gift giver. And so I am a time person. Again, so you have a birthday party, you have this, I'm showing up, I'm going to be there. Your birthday party can be in Minnesota. I'm showing up and I'm gonna be there because I'm a time person. I want to be there. Having to like rack my brain to figure out gifts for folks, I don't like it. I do enjoy the thoughtfulness of gifts, for sure. And of course, everybody like a good gift every now and again, but that isn't something that I needed. And I have a friend who, like I said, was a huge loved gifts, and she always had these boyfriends that would buy her jewelry and all sorts of stuff from jump, and I'd be like, dang. But yeah,
I have a friend like that too.
Really, yeah. Gift giving wasn't something, like I said, I guess it isn't big for me because it's not something that I really enjoyed. I just don't have that thoughtful spirit like that where people can pick out those like really good gifts. Risa does a really good job of that. Probably one of the only people who does a really good job at gift giving. For me, everybody else kind of just ask and I tell you what I want. Even like now, when my parents ask, what you want? My birthday's next month. What do you want for your birthday? Can you give me some dryer sheets, some laundry detergent, the pods for the dishwashing? Like that's what I want for my birthday every year. That's what I want for my birthday. So yeah, but again, it's not. I think it's a gift to be a good gift giver. To be that thoughtful, and being able to really be in tune with someone to give a good gift, is definitely a gift. Like I said, in Risa is probably, not probably, but is the best that I've seen at that for sure. But I suck, and maybe that's why I put that at the bottom of my list. Not to say that I don't like getting gifts, but I'm just not good at it, and maybe it just made me feel bad my whole life. Love you, girl. You're amazing. Not me. So in the middle, so physical touch is definitely one after an argument, after tough conversations, after difficult moments. Physical touch is something that I need and desire. Again, I'm the only one here who did not grow up with siblings. My brother is 9 years older than me, graduated from high school at 16. And so I really grew up an only child. And so those little conflict, bickering things, we, have this little moment and then we go back to sharing food and sit next to each other and talking like nothing ever happened. I don't know how to do that. I struggle with that. And so even when me and my fiance have like some of those regular day-to-day, like strong conversations or difficult conversations or things that just kind of make you uncomfortable, you don't want to talk about. And again, I don't really like conflict either. I like, okay, I need a hug, I need a cuddle, I need to sit down and like on the couch with you. Like I need that to know that we're okay. So I will say physical touch is that, and I enjoy hand holding now. I don't hold my girlfriend's hands.
I know I'm a weirdo.
It is so funny because one of my friends said to me one day, and she's like a coworker friend, but she was like, "You don't really like being touched, do you?" And I'm like, "Why you say that?" She was like, "Cause you don't never want to give me no hug." I don't want to give you no hug. but it did make me realize, like, I do just desire touch, like you said, just more in like intimate settings. Like I hug my parents and I hug my, my man. Right. But I'll hug people, but I just don't want to hug you every day. Like
I do.
I see you 3 times a week. Like I got to hug you every time I see you. We good. Not if I see you frequently. Now, if it's every, whatever. But I got to hug you every day. So yes. Words of affirmation. Actually, my fiance told me that he felt like that was my love language. That I like, and I think I like. Yeah, I guess confirmation, affirmation, they pretty much synonyms. I'm gonna say I think I like confirmation, but the same thing. But yeah, so words of affirmation is probably somewhere in there as well. And what's the last one? Acts of service. I definitely appreciate, I don't know, it's hard in the middle. I don't know. 2, 3, and 4, they all in there together somewhere. Because I do love like the moments when, especially if I'm out of town for the weekend and I leave my car at my fiance's house and he'll fill up the tank and wash the car and I'll like love it. And even as we have conversations about what we want from each other and what we need from each other in the future, one of the things is if I never have to go to the gas station again, I'm okay. And if I'm not a cooker, but if you take my car to get washed and cleaned in the gas station weekly, baby, I will learn how to make whatever it is that you want to make because I ain't got to go to another car wash, another gas station again in my
oil change.
Right. But yeah, but if you can do something regular, I hate going to the gas station. Like putting gas in my car. Oh my God.
Especially in the winter.
Yes. You can have what you want. And here in Atlanta, I stopped liking getting gas, years ago when they had the strings of what was it called? Smash and grabs or whatever it was when they were jumping through people's windows and stealing stuff. When they were jumping through people's windows and stealing cars, and you at the gas pump and they jump in and take your car. And since then, and I worked at a high school at the time, and it was my high school students doing it. Since then, I'm like, I don't like gas stations. I don't like gas stations. So, yeah. So 2, 3, and 4 are all wrapped in there somewhere, but 1 is definitely time. And 5 for me is gifts, for sure. But I think it's important. And I think it's important. I'm sorry, Rudy, look, you about to say something. But I think it's important also knowing so you were talking about marriage and, I don't know. I know you desire to be married, Janessa. Rudy, I don't know if you would desire.
I desire to be I desire to be married.
Oh, okay. So I will say this. My fiance's, in my opinion, love language is acts of service. And
I was going to ask you what was his.
It's acts of service, in my opinion. He say time. And maybe I just require more time than he does. But it's definitely acts of service. And I know this because again, the little things that I do, cooking for him is such a big deal for him. When I offer to pay for a date or a meal or something like that, such a big deal for him. You know, when he has something at the house and I clean up for him, such a big, you know, those things I realized, like, as we were starting to get to know each other, like those are the things that I got the most like reaction and response out of. But the good thing was those are the things that I just did naturally. Now cooking, we're gonna I do enjoy cooking for him, but I just ain't the best cook, but we're gonna work on it. But some of the other things, like I remember we went out for, so when we first started that, and now he likes to do like this marathon date day. So we'll go to like 4 or 5 different spots. And one day, maybe second or third date, we started off at actually the place that we had our first date on. But the day before, I had like broken my phone and he had like come to get me. And again, we was very early on in dating. And so because I appreciate him, we had just gotten 2 little drinks from, like I said, this nice restaurant up the street. And when the bill came, I put my card down and I paid for it. And when I tell you, like, his spirit jumped out, like his whole body like jumped out. And I'm like, you good? Like, what's going on? He was like, I've just never seen that done before. I've just never seen a woman offer to pay for anything.
Right.
And I'm like, it was a little $15 drink. It was a $35 tab. Like, ain't no thing. I appreciate you yesterday for coming through with me when I broke my cell phone. Like, we good. And he was just like, I've just never seen that done. And that was the day I was like, got him. But again, that was just my spirit, though. You know, and so when I think about long term with us in love language, and because I read the love languages book, that's how I knew Chapman. And I've always been a fan of the love languages. I feel like it's important that, you know, your mate's not going to be perfect. Your partner's not going to be perfect at all. And there's some things that you're going to have to show them a little bit of, this is how you love me. But at the core, you would want the way in which you give love and the way in which they give love to align. And so the things that's kind of made him tick, I didn't do because he asked me to. I just did because that's naturally Kellie. And so 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, I will still do those things that make him tick because that's who Kellie is. And same thing on the flip side. Those things, and like I said, active service may be in there because things like opening doors. And I remember me and Terry had a whole back and forth one day about opening doors and all of that. Love all of that. But that's what he's done for the 2 years that we've dated, or almost 2 years that we've dated. He hadn't switched up a bit, you know, because that's just innately who he is. And that's one of the things that I love. And so I can expect 5, 10, 15 years down the line, he's still going to open doors. Where I remember the guy I dated before him, I had to stand at the door and kind of just, you gonna open it? Like, what we doing?
Was this the one that the church didn't have the men's meeting with?
No.
Oh, okay.
He didn't even I don't even know if he had, yeah. That was a rough time in life.
Gotcha.
But no, this was the guy I used to call you about all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would have to, stand at the door and wait and open a car door. Never. You know, like, you know, most men have been taught to open up a door for a lady, you know, in a building. But again, I had to just some days like, you gonna open it, we're gonna stand here, what we gonna do? Versus my fiance, not only does he open buildings, he open cars, he open passenger and driver. When I'm only the driver, if we're not driving together, I think I've driven him once again in the 2 years that we've been together. And but it has to be kind of innately who you are, and the way that you give love aligns with the way they receive love. You know, for those top 2 things. Now the other 3, you know, whatever. But because if I was a person that loved gifts, my fiance isn't a big gift giver. If he was a person that loved gifts, I'm not a big gift giver, you know? And so for Christmases and birthdays and all of those things, like we probably would be upset or resentment or whatnot. I actually did pretty good for the birthday though. But I mean for Christmas. But we really, you know, it would have been resentment because I didn't do what he needed. Before his birthday, I bought him all these little gifts, and he, of course, he appreciated it. But you know what he appreciated more? That I bought him breakfast and lunch to work that morning, versus me spending $250 on some gifts. It was I bought him some sausage and pancakes, and I forgot what I cooked, some shrimp and rice. That meant more to him than the gifts.
Yeah.
So
I think even the because some people can kind of look at the breakfast or the lunch or whatever even as a gift. I think sometimes it's not so much we don't connect with just say a love language. It's just we connect with that love language differently. You know what I'm saying? Because like for me, I don't care about gifts, but I do remember when the same young lady who I was telling y'all about, who don't think I'm funny, back many moons ago when we were talking, I remember she did this whole like so we were living in two different cities. She came and saw me when I went to her hotel room to visit her. She basically like handed me this paper at the door. So as soon as I walked in, and it sent me through like this little scavenger hunt inside her room, which led to, I think the ultimate gift was like some type of watch or whatever. But it was all the stuff leading up to it. So like every point had like one of my favorite foods in it. It was like a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, I think at the time I had this real crave for like bananas or whatever. So it was like bananas or whatever. And I remember thinking to myself, like, dang, like how did she know that I liked all this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, because these are real specific things, you know what I'm saying, to have. And I never blatantly told her like, hey, these are my favorite chips. Hey, this is my favorite fruit. But she heard me kind of mention it at some point in our conversation and then put it in the scavenger hunt. And to me, that meant the world to me, that you even paid that much attention to me and I didn't even deliberately tell you anything. So these little gifts, using air quotes, mattered to me more than more than the watch. Like the watch that she got me at the end, I paid that the least amount of attention. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know where that watch is. I'm not even sure how long I had it back when I did have it, but I remember the different foods and stuff, the different specificities that I made, and that she paid attention to. And I think that people who are attentive like that I think that's a gift in itself, even to when you were saying like Reese with the gift giving, because what I was going to actually ask you, Kelly, since you said you read the book, I'm wondering, does the love language book speak to you as the person who has to cater to somebody else's love language? Because like it's easy for me to identify mine and know how I want love shown. So like for my birthday, I would much rather everybody come over for a barbecue than for anybody to buy me the most expensive gift in the world. Like I'm not gonna care about you buying me this brand new car as much as I would if everybody came over and chilled. But for somebody else's birthday, they may not care about the quality time as much. They may care about the gift. But because I don't care about gifts, it also plays into the fact that I'm not good at giving gifts. I'm not good at thinking about, like I said, if you tell me what you want and I just go find it and buy it, that's one thing. But me trying to be thoughtful and be like, oh, Kelly is the type of person who, who likes the socks with the little puff ball on the back of it. And
old school, good times.
Yeah, like whatever. And she also likes Cookie Monster. So I'm going to get the puff ball with the Cookie Monster on the back. And I don't be thinking that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't be thinking that deep. So I guess I'm asking, did the book address that? And if so, like what did they say about how to, because to me, I think with love languages, the hardest part is feeding somebody else's love language versus identifying your own and then, getting that love.
So what I can remember, and I read it about a year or two ago, but what I can remember is that it kind of just talks in general about what each of the love languages mean. Maybe like some of the root of why you may have this love language, and then how to and so then how to feel someone with that love language, how to, what's the word I'm looking for, how to show someone you love them in that language. And then I think it also walks through some of the things not to do, for someone with that love language, and so for physical touch, it may be, of course, they like touch, they enjoy holding hands, they enjoy cuddling, they enjoy PDA, they enjoy these things. But if you withdraw when you're mad, or if you sleep on the other side of the bed when things, or whatever, those are the things that don't do. You don't do with people with that love language. So it does kind of go into how can you fulfill somebody else's needs with that love language. And then again, them reading it, they'll know how to give to you in terms of that love language. I probably need to open it back up. But yeah, like I said, I read that. I bought it actually when we first met. Me and my fiance when we first met, because he was hard to figure out in the beginning. I couldn't put my finger on him. What made him tick? Until, like I said, I paid for them 2 drinks. Again, and even with your point about the food being gifts, when I see acts of service, I see I'm taking something off your plate. And so me going and bringing you breakfast and lunch meant that you didn't have to think about that for that day, that you didn't have to figure that out for that day. Me paying for the drinks means that I get to say this little $35 here, right. Or whatever, and so it's taking something off your plate. It's making something easier for you. And I think it even gave some like probing questions on how to like figure out like how can I best love you in this way? Because like you said, if I met somebody who gifts were their thing, I probably could do it, but I would need a lot of support and help. It would take a lot of thought versus me just doing it naturally versus like I said, versus Arisa, who, I mean, she's just going to do it naturally. She's going to pay attention to those little details. She's, like, she's just great. But I just, again, maybe in my ADHD all over the place brain, them little details just, I can't focus in on them. I got 50 million things going on in my head.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, I was going to say 2 things. I did not read the book in its entirety. So I can't really remember if it was in the book or if someone said this or if I read it somewhere. But I was always kind of under the impression that we were supposed to love our partners, or make a priority to love your partners in their love language and not yours.
Absolutely.
Because of course, like we discussed already before, if you're loving them in your love language and that's not theirs, then they might not feel loved. And just since we're talking about it in this context. But I will say, I still haven't thought about it further than this. Does love languages tie into being equally yoked or not? And the reason I question that is because my ex-boyfriend, I wouldn't say he was bad at gifts, but I feel like I'm Arisa and the young lady you described. You don't have to tell me your favorite color is X, Y, and Z. If I hear you say you like rainbow Skittles or whatever, like the next day you're gonna have rainbow Skittles or whatever. But one thing I had to do with my ex, or as I get older, like I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I know y'all like to think I am, but I'm not. So I would have a list in my phone, restaurants that he likes, desserts he said he liked, or snacks or TV shows or whatever. And so I kind of put him onto that. And so he started creating a list of things that I like. And so when it came time to birthdays or Christmas or it's Thursday, what we gonna eat today? It didn't completely, resolve any conflicts on what we're gonna eat today, but it definitely made things easier for both of us.
Right.
It took some of the guessing out for both of us. And so that's why I was like, I see how it can work, but I also can see how it can't work. Like it can be problematic long term in your relationship if one person's stuck on this and the other person absolutely hates this, and So, that's just something I keep in mind, but I'm glad we're having this discussion to kind of hear not only just different perspectives, but also hearing like the male perspective versus our perspectives, or the women's perspective. But even Kellie and I are two different perspectives, because I love the details and thoughtful gifts and cards. And I'm the person who's standing in the Hallmark card, mahogany, whatever, like going through 50 cards because it's got to say the right thing. So I really appreciate the conversation around this, because it's not like a cookie cutter, one shape, fits all. Everybody's is different, and you kind of learn on the fly a little bit. So that's all I got.
No, and that's, like you said, that's real and equally yoked. That's an interesting perspective.
Right.
If I haven't thought that deep either, but I do think to what you said, there it is. It will cause some tension in your relationship if you are unable to love the person the way that they need to be shown love. And like you said, if you are with a person that is words of affirmation, but you shower them with gifts, not that they don't appreciate the gift, not that they don't love the car, the watch, the house, the whatever, but what they really wanted was, I love you. You look beautiful today. And so if that's difficult, then there's going to be some tension. For example, and I think this is why my fiance says that I'm a words of affirmation person, because I give words of affirmation to people.
Right.
I'm a very, you look nice, or I appreciate you so much, and and this long text message and all of this stuff. And I do this with my friends and family, and, and all of that at times too, and I've seen in past relationships where I've given this long message of appreciation, or I've said all these things and it didn't really move them at all, and they're like, and I'm like, dang, I done said all these nice things. Right, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But again, but like you were saying, like not being stuck in this way, not being selfish and only think about, okay, Kellie, that may be what you need. A nice card with a whole bunch of nice words means a lot to you. But that may not mean a lot to them. And that doesn't mean that they don't love you any less, because then it goes both ways. Because then it becomes, they feel like you're not listening to me, you're not seeing me, you're not hearing me, because you keep doing this same thing. And I'm telling you, I want this. And then the other person is feeling like, well, you must not love me because you don't accept the way that I love you. When you don't accept me as I am. And, and so then it becomes problematic, like you said, on both ends. Where they feel like you don't see me and hear me, and the other person feel like you don't appreciate all that I do for you. And I've seen, oh my God, so many women who say, oh my God, I did all this for my man. I bought him this, I did this and this and this and all this for my man, and he still cheated. He still ain't want me. He still left. So I ain't gonna do it no more. But did you ever listen to what he needed, what he wanted? He didn't want that. And to be honest, to be real honest and transparent, me and my fiance have had that conversation too. Just in, hey, Kellie, I know that you like these things and you like the drama and the go big and the this and the that or whatever, but I don't require that. And so just, you may want this big, let's say birthday. You may want this big birthday party, or you may want this big whatever, but I don't need all of that. And so you doing all of that for me is nice, but it also makes me feel like you're not listening to me either. You do what you want to do. And so sometimes I think you made a good point. Like, people get so stuck and caught up in kind of what they want and how they want to give love. And you need to accept that I want to give you this and I want to do this. The other person is like, but you didn't hear me.
Right.
I don't need that. You went and spent $1,000 on all this when you could have spent, 10, and we just did this.
Right.
So I think that's important. And that's where things become problematic. Like I said, because I've been a victim of that. You're not a victim, an offender. I'ma do, what I want to do, and I think this is great, and so he gonna think it's great too.
Right.
And I think it can
that I want it
spill over into other stuff. Like you said, you spent $1,000 and it could have just been 10. But now y'all are out $1,000 for something that you wanted to do down the line, and so now that's adding contention and resentment, and it just keeps going.
He's building
because marriage just doesn't stop one day. I mean, unless one passes away, but it just doesn't.
Right.
That's not how it works. Y'all gotta continuously be in that thing together.
Yeah, I think that's what happened with a lot of like with rich people, whether you're talking about their spouse, even their kids. When you're rich and you're busy and you're entertained or whatever, like you're doing whatever it is that you do to make your millions of dollars. A lot of times, as long as I put my wife in a big house and give her a nice car and buy her all the designer bags and the clothes or whatever like that, I feel like that should make up for me not being there. When in all reality, the wife or the kid or whoever is like, you can take all this back. I want you here, though.
I just want the time.
I rather you actually be here than for you to try to shower me with, all this stuff. Because all this stuff is nice only if I can have it along with you. But if I have to choose you or this stuff, you can take this stuff back, and I rather have you here. So yeah, I think just that factor of learning other people who you care about love language and trying to cater to that, trying to become better at that, or even just make the effort towards what they want, even if you're not good at it, as opposed to projecting your own love language on somebody else and expecting them to feel the same about it.
And like you said, making the effort. Sometimes it's just, I appreciate because I saw that you made the effort. Again, for your girl, she didn't have to buy the big watch, but the bananas, the hot Cheetos, the scavenger hunt, like all of that was like, man, and that meant so much to me. So yeah, agreed.
Gotcha. Okie dokie. Still no jewels, right?
No.
All righty.
You that gave us a ruby today.
Okay. Well, I don't remember what it was, but hopefully it blessed y'all. Whatever it happened to be. But,
it was the list, the priority list.
Oh, right.
Your therapy. What's the thing with a T? Your therapy
tips.
Tips and tricks from therapy or something. But you can't find me. Well, you can. It's a pretty picture too. At Princess Kells 51, 2 L's.
And the number 51.
You can find me at JRihanna__. Me and Theo have fun over there.
All right. And our producer can be found on Instagram at RHESA_G. So follow all these good people, or try to follow Kelly, and then follow Janessa. And
I've been getting a lot of follow requests recently. Now I know you said we had 17 watches or something last week. I don't know where you folks came from.
I said 31. Okay.
Oh, my bad. You got over exaggerated number. This time I went low. My bad.
We had 31.
My bad.
But yes, I mean, I don't know. Go through them, see if you recognize anybody. If not, you'll be back to where you started.
Okay.
But please, guys, please continue to support us. If you are watching this during our Suits era, welcome. If you're watching this in real time, we appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe, leave a review. Most of all, share this with a few people that you know, so they can be on the gravy train as well. And we are the worst ones. And until next week, we are out of here.
Top of the world.